Diadochi was one of them as well, right? Ptolemy, Seleucus. I'm sorry,
The
Lysimachus. His land was over there, but Lysimachus was his name.
mm,
Okay, he became ruler of like what they call Asia Minor.
mm,
Cassandra, he got control of Macedonia and Greece, but Lysimachus became ruler of like the whole Asia Minor, and of course, like I said, Seleucus, he ruled over all of us. He got Persia, he got Syria, he basically got the Middle East and set up the whole Seleucid Empire. And Ptolemy, of course, took all of Egypt and everything else going north on that side.
mm.
He
Kind of
was actually
kind.
weaker generals, just to go back to it.
Ptolemy.
Say again?
You said Ptolemy was the weaker of the generals.
Weaker ones.
Mm,
He fell in love. You know the whole love story of him and in Egypt and all of
mm,
that nonsense. He was more in love with the culture. When you go down to Egypt and you go to Luxor Temple
mm.
in Egypt, they got his paintings, and he had himself made up like one of the Egyptian pharaohs. He was all seduced by the culture
Mm,
and became weak. You
mm.
know what I mean? But he did build. He was more trying to be more philosophical.
Mm.
You know, built the Alexander. He started the Alexander library, one of the biggest, greatest libraries in ancient history that
Right,
they went actually burnt down. He was a part of all that.
right. I believe he sat as pharaoh. If I'm,
Say again?
he sat
Yeah, I
as.
believe you're right. Like he sat as Pharaoh, and you know what I mean? Like one thing about Edomites, they love power, and they love power even more if they can have another race as their slave. Then they don't have to have a conscience about what they do to
Mm,
the people that they rule over.
right.
And these four tetrarchs, I mean, they was brutal,
Mm,
brutal, and kept the world in hell. And these Edomites, period, have held the world hostage for thousands of years.
mm.
They came out that cave and they was playing for keeps.
Right.
Edomite got that blessing by the Lord as Cain to live by that sword.
Mm,
Was true to his game. You know what I mean? And he's ruled since then. But as we're gonna read on further down, the children of the Lord are gonna take that kingdom.
mm.
We're gonna take that kingdom that they thought never could be taken and be brought down. Go ahead, Slock it.
No problem, sir.
If you wanted me to go, bounce around, I was trying to stay to the chapter, but we could do either one.
Come on, it's a little reverb I'm hearing.
So
Is it
reverb on the side.
kind of, sir? I think it's the second mic, not yours.
Got a
Is that
second mic in the iBot. The second mic is not on.
okay?
Is
Okay,
my second mic? Second mic.
there it is. It sound better now.
It sound better now?
Yes, sir.
2, 3. How about now? Oh, wait a minute.
Constant.
Don't tell me it's on. No, this is not on. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got? We good?
We good to go, sir.
All right. Let's roll.
All right. Daniel 8:8. Therefore the he goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up four notable ones towards the four winds of heaven.
And it is heavy what you said. How Daniel saw all this long before it happened.
Mm,
And that must have been amazing to see in a vision. It must have been horrifying to him,
mm.
seeing that much into the future. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Kind. If I could add a little side note,
Please.
it says during the year of Belshazzar, Daniel was in under the Persians, so this had to be in the 500s. Historians argue what year exactly, but it was years before what we now know as Alexander and his
Yeah,
generals and things like that.
yeah, it was quite a while before. Because let's get it. When did what year did the Roman Empire establish itself?
Uh, I I believe it went from the Roman Republic to the Empire of Rome or the Roman Empire in like 67 BC. I could stand corrected. Let me see.
I think you are correct. I think you are correct.
Let me see. Public. 431 man. 27 BC.
Okay. 27 BC.
That's where they went from the Roman Republic to the Roman Empire.
Well, then, and imagine that. So, could you imagine almost 500 years ahead of it happening? Daniel saw this vision and saw the vision even beyond that because he saw the vision all the way up to America. As we read on down, we're going to see he saw that vision. He saw visions from 1,500 to 2,000 years in advance, easy, 2,500 years
Mm.
in advance that vision would be laid out, which is absolutely amazing. You know what I mean? And absolutely why nobody but the prophets should be breaking down the scriptures.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Kind. Verse Daniel 8 and 9. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the south and toward the east and toward the pleasant land. And it waxed, it's like it.
Go ahead.
And
I was just go into it a little bit.
okay,
That
okay,
little
okay.
is again like Daniel brought out, all the way up to America, which wax exceedingly great. America is the greatest empire. I don't want to say great, but the most mightiest empire on the face of this earth there has ever been on the face of this earth. There's never been an empire more mighty than the United States of America that we know of as of today. Now the Egyptians were super powerful, but I don't believe that they were as powerful. So were the Elamites, but I don't believe any of them was as powerful as the United States is now. So he came up and exceeded and excelled exceedingly great, and also pushed to all four corners of the earth. You know what I mean? Going meaning these are empires that are going for full dominance of the earth. And that's what America's doing now. America's ready to go do exactly what the Romans did. They ready to leave being a republic and now turn into an empire. That's why they taking Trump and making him change all the laws and violate the laws because they want to really take this to the level of an empire so that they can just conquer and pillage and not be restricted by United States law, but to be able to go out and just declare themselves ruler of the earth. So whoever opposes them, they can just openly challenge and not have to feel like they are doing something wrong. Go ahead.
Kind, sir. Verse 10. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven. And
Right. It waxed always. It was so wicked. This empire has been so wicked that even the host of heaven are like, come on, Lord. You know, man, that and came up to that level where the evil is even waxed to the host of heaven. Go ahead.
if I may, sir, are you taking questions online? A sister had a
You got
question.
people online with questions? Yeah, let's
Kind
take a question.
the sister Princess Kanawa.
I gotta ask you to go up a little bit again, Salakia.
Kind, sir, no problem.
We won't get that back. Try a little more.
Let me see.
How about now? Probably won't. Let me hear you.
Testing.
Go ahead. Yeah, we good. Go ahead.
Okay. Sister Kanawa says, Salakia, Commander Junior Yahanna, my lord, what makes America so powerful, sir?
What makes it simply weapons? Weapons. You know what I mean? America is as powerful as it is because they have weapons that are beyond the weapons of the other nations. And it was given to them. That sword was given to them for a period of time to make them great. That's what makes any empire great. They lie and tell you everything about science and technology and agriculture and the arts and all that is bullshit. The only thing that makes an empire great or powerful is how much weaponry they have. That's what makes an empire great. That's why it said that Christ is going to return with 200,000 angels. Now he got power beyond belief. But why is he coming with all those angels and all that power? Because he's getting ready to take over all of their power and conquer them and crush them down with his
Mm.
power. That's why they racing into space. That's why they got that. What's that thing they got up in Alaska where they trying to? They got that little thing, that plasma thing spinning around. What do they call that? The hydrogen or hadrian collider.
Mm.
What they trying to do is find out how they can open up reality or open up another dimension. They're trying to reach the other dimensions to get power in them dimensions. That's why you hear all the stories of them trying to dig into time travel, trying to dig into anti-gravity, stuff that they was doing back in the turn of the century with Nikola Tesla. They trying to perfect it because they want power over everybody. So they're using all their skills and their thievery to gain as much power as they can get so that nobody can oppose them. And best believe, according to the scriptures, they plan to use that power to fight against Yahushua.
Mm.
They plan on using this power to fight against him. But remember what the Lord said through Paul in the book of Romans. The Lord said that for this reason have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee. How could the Lord show his power if he don't have a formidable enemy? He needs an enemy that's formidable, that can look like he got a battle. And America's being given these weapons and these abilities for that very reason. But unfortunately for them, the same like these prophecies Daniel spoke of is coming to pass today, so are the prophecies that say this empire will be destroyed by the hand of the Lord. So that's what makes them powerful. Are they more powerful than the Lord? No. That's also why we, in our humble state, have to also make sure that we serve the Most High. Why? Because in serving the Most High, we attach to the one that has all the power. And that's what makes us more powerful than them in that day when it comes time to take this kingdom back. I hope that makes it clear.
Kind of kind, sir.
The reason they're strong. Like all them empires got strong by armies. They built armies and built soldiers. And that's why the UPK was building righteous soldiers,
Mm.
not
I'm right.
soldiers who take arms up and try to fight this empire carnally. He was given the sword. So when his punishment comes, it won't be by a sword. The Lord said, I will not meet him as a man. He's delving into places that says that is going to get him destroyed because
Mm.
he's reached for power that he does not have. I'll give you another example of it. Is in the book of the Tower of Babel. Was it Genesis 9, Numbers 9? I'm a little off with it. I think
Hmm.
it was Genesis 9. Um, in that book, remember what the Lord said, that nothing that they wanted to do that they be stopped from doing. That they have. Let's get it if you don't mind, Taba One.
Kind of kind.
Could we
Uh,
just get at
the
one part? I'm trying to
the Tower of
paraphrase this.
Babel.
Say again, the Tower of Babel. Yeah,
Kind of kind.
like the Tower of Babel is a perfect example. The heathens left alone would all of them would go and try to get as much power as they can, and then try to overthrow other heathens so they can get gain of the world. Why? Because none of them want to fall up under the world they're about to fall up under, which is Christ's kingdom. The children of Israel will rule the kingdom, and all the nations will be under them. And so the nations don't want to fall under them. The nations want to rejoice over our destruction. Go ahead, Art.
Yes, sir. Kind of kind. Genesis 11 and 1. And the
11.
whole And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech.
And meaning this, they had all come together, just like America's trying to do. You notice that they speak English all over the world now, trying to come with one language. And it said one language, and what was the other thing?
And of one speech.
And when it says of one speech, it's not talking about the language.
Mm,
It's talking about the mindset of the people. Like the people's speech was together, which is how it is in America. Their speech is, let's go meet with aliens. And aliens don't exist. But they put it out to the people, and the people eat it up. They in the mindset of, if we just invent enough things, we'll become great. They got this thing called CRISPR now. You might have heard of it. They trying to create new creatures with this CRISPR thing. It's supposed to change DNA and all that. They delving and digging and seeking and trying their best to find all the power over man that they could, so that they could rise up just like in the Tower of Babel and reach on to heaven. They want to challenge the Most High. That's an evil enemy. Like he really wants, he don't want to get down with the Lord. He wants to challenge the Lord.
mm,
That's, look up the Daniel 70-year prophecy. They trying to figure out when that 70 years is. They stuck on that. Because why they want to stop them 70 years? Because they don't want to have to go into captivity where they'll be put in their place. Human beings was not meant to be in the space and in the stars. You can't even last up there, so much radiation. They have to bring you down after a certain point. When you come out that capsule, you see them people come out that capsule, they got to carry them out that capsule. That's how destructive space is to the human body, which tells you you don't belong out there. He created a firmament. Y'all read that many times. He
right.
created a firmament to separate you from, you know, the other nations. I mean, you from the rest of space. That's why he created that bubble. This bubble that Earth is in, all the elements that's in Earth is in outer space. That's where it came from. But the Lord created this firmament, this bubble around it, so that those things can environmentally move in a way that is conducive to human beings. So human beings not supposed to go get off the planet looking for something else. But the nations do, because once again, like the Tower of Babel, they want to fight the Lord. Read on. We'll come back into Daniel 8.
Come, sir. Um, Genesis 11 and 2. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east, and they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar.
So they came out of what, out of that hunter gatherer stage and began to build cities,
Hmm.
build housing for themselves. Man started to increase and get better at life, building bricks, setting up water systems, started agriculture to grow things, started to keep cattle, and started to grow. But of course, that wasn't enough for these heathens. Go ahead.
Come, verse 4. And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower.
And
Who?
those things went on in what we know today as Iraq and on the border of Turkey.
Mm.
Iraq is where they built all those new cities for Babylon, all those ancient cities that they had. Uh, I forget the names of them, but they got tons of new cities. Summer, Chaldea was one. Where Abraham came from. All those cities were built in that area near Iraq. Go ahead.
Eh, and they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven.
So they went to build a tower. They looking up in the sky every day. They going out farming every day. They watching the rain come out the sky. They watching the sun come out the sky. They smart enough to know that this rain and this sun is coming from heaven, meaning God, we ain't making the sun come out. We're not making the rain come out. We're not making it get dark at night. So they was wise enough to know it must be a God up there who is deciding to do these things.
Mm.
But instead of saying we should thank God, they turned around and said, let's go build a tower and let's beat God. Let's go up there with him and question him on his authority, which is what they want to do. Go ahead.
Kind. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth.
That's why they took on identities like the Babylonian Empire, like the Greek and Roman Empire, because they wanted these empires to be able to be organized. And America's the same way. You notice when you go into them different areas and spaces where they got top scientists, those scientists come from where? All over the earth. It might be a Chinese scientist, an African scientist, a Arab scientist. Look at who created Apple. That was a Syrian. That wasn't an
Mm.
American. He's from Syria, but he created Apple. What's his name? Steve Jobs,
Hmm.
not an American, but they pull him in to help build this empire onto the Lord. And there's many others. Nikola Tesla, the one that they praised all the time, he was a Serbian. He was
Hmm.
from Serbia. People probably didn't even know where that was in the 1900s. But he came over here to America from Serbia and went and set up the whole alternating current. And now they all got electricity. So do you see what I'm saying? So they using everybody, bringing them together, trying to give them an empire and trying to get all the power they can so they can reach up to the Most High. But they can't. It'll never happen. Go ahead. Let's read on.
Verse 5, Genesis 11 and 5. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded.
Right. He came down to see what they were doing in the earth and saw that they was building a tower in an attempt to get to him. Go ahead. And they
And the,
still build a tower. The only difference is the tower is the rocket ship now. That's
mm,
the difference. The tower is not just a building no more because they've advanced. They gathered all the people together to advance. So now the tower that they building now, that's a rocket ship with what are those things they set out with a probe? What are those things called?
um,
I don't think they call them a probe. They got another name for them. But those are them things that go out and scan other planets or land on Mars and take pictures of the rocks and take soil samples. Different these different things that they use. Those things are all part of the new tower. The new tower is a technical tower with computers and with rockets and stuff like that. Rather than build a building, they just shoot that thing into space. And if
mm.
you really saw how many satellites and junk that was swimming around this planet, you'd be shocked. You'd be shocked at junk that's sitting up there in space. Go ahead, Op,
If I may, sir,
please.
just if I could briefly, real quick, read this precept for you, if I may.
Please.
Isaiah 14 and 13. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High.
Right.
Like,
And start it from the beginning one more time, Op.
oh, it's like it.
What
I
he said? Because
kind of
what he
kind,
said, you tell you who's ruling over you. You want to know who's ruling over you? Check this out. Go ahead, Op.
kind of kind. Isaiah 14 and 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O
Oh no,
Lucifer?
go back to what you read before.
Oh, so like it.
Go back
Verse
to that verse. Then you can go that one. That's another good one too. Go ahead.
verse 13. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will
Thou
ascend.
hast said in thy heart, meaning this is what he's made of. This is what's in his heart. His heart is to conquer the world and to conquer the Most High. You understand? That's what's in his heart. That's why you can't, when you see this man, you see how much control he wants over us, how much control he wants over the nations. Demons want control over everybody. Demons don't want you free doing what you want to do. Demons want you controlled. And that's why this man is made to have demons, because he said in it, he wants exactly what the demon wants. He said in his heart, he will do what?
Slakia. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven.
In his heart, he ain't going to look down from the ground and be looking up at a God over his head, which is so righteous the way the Lord designed the earth. It's righteous that your rain and your sunshine come from above your head so that you could be humble and recognize that there's a God above you, but not these heathens. Like a dumbass would know, you don't see the sun and the sky and all that up there. What do you need proof that God exists when you watching him work every day? But to a man who in his heart
Mm,
he will send into heaven, he don't hear that. He cannot see that. He got to build a kingdom to get there. And that's why everybody has to be enslaved. That's why everybody has to be starved. That's why everybody has to live in hell and horror. Because he is in his heart, he wants to get up there and beat the Lord. That's why he wants everybody's wealth. That's why he got to control all the oil. That's why he got to make his empire ever expanding, because the ultimate goal is control over the planet,
mm.
control over the heavens, control over the Most High if he could have it. Unfortunately for him, he cannot.
Right.
As though he's going to try hard to get it. Go ahead.
Back in
Uh,
Genesis.
yes, or go to the other scripture you had in. You was about to go in the Isaiah, I believe it was.
Oh, sir. Isaiah 14 and 12. Um, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of
Right.
the morning?
This is a difference. This is similar, but not quite exactly the same. How are they fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? So lucky to cut you off to a bad habit of mine.
Oh,
You
you too,
understand?
sir.
So, like, how did you fall from heaven? How could you have so much power, like the Tower of Babel, and then end up coming down and being destroyed? How could that have happened?
Mm,
It happened because the Lord stepped in to show you his power was greater than yours. And it brought him down. And that's what we're reading about in Daniel. Daniel saw this vision. Do you realize Daniel saw the vision 2,500 years in advance? And just imagine the children of Israel have been reading about this vision for 2,500 years before this time we're living in now.
mm.
Christ said, many have sought to see this day. I'm paraphrasing, and have not seen it. Daniel was one of them. Daniel saw this vision and it ruptured him inside.
Mm.
And he would have longed to see the day that Christ took full power. He would have longed to see that day.
Mm.
And yet he will see that day because he'll be back with us in reincarnation in the end. So he will see the day, but not as Daniel, but as who he comes back into earth at. But he would have loved in that time for all this to have taken place and he could see it. I don't want to get everybody confused, but let's.
That's heavy. That's heavy. Salakia.
Oh,
That's heavy. Um, Genesis 11 and 6. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they all have one language.
yep.
And this they began to do. Salakia.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you.
And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have.
Now nothing will be restrained from them.
Mm.
Nothing will be restrained from them. That's why you see them with all these amazing technologies. They doing all kinds of stuff. They experiment. That's why they're experimenting endlessly. These universities is getting billions of dollars from the government to experiment. America has no shortage of wealth. They just don't give the wealth to you. Because why give the wealth to you for you to become powerful when they are trying to get their race on to the top? They want to get to where the Lord said just what he said, nothing is held from them. They don't want you to be the one to get there first. So why help you?
Mm.
Instead, why not extort the world, get more money for us, and we'll build our way up into heaven? Read it again, please.
Kind of what kind, sir? Genesis 11:6. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they all have one language. And this they began to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do.
Whatever they imagine to do, it won't be restrained from them. And let me tell you something else too. They were as one, like the Lord said. And that is what the Roman Empire is doing. There's only a one people on the earth that no matter what happens to them, they still put the Lord above everybody else. That's the 12 lost tribes of the children of Israel. That's why the target is on your back. That's why the East Indians and the Arabs and the Orientals don't get bothered, but the Mexicans do.
Mm.
Mexicans do. That's why the East Indians and the Arabs and the Asians and even the Africans don't get pulled over in the car and dragged out the car and beat to death. But blacks do. Latinos do. Because you are the children of Israel that never joined the movement to take over the world and come against God. No matter what happens, you never lose sight of the fact that God is the all powerful force in the universe. And they hate that about you. They want you to be like them. That's why they beat your preachers into being carnal rather than being spiritual. They want your preachers to be full of lust, full of gain, full of trying to become great in this world. Why? Because they don't want you to decide that God should be first no matter what.
Mm.
That's a problem. That's a problem for them. But that's built in you. The Lord put his name on you and made you that kind of people. And so they think, well, you following that ignorant old book, we're going to go build the thing ourselves. We'll build the rocket ships. You go to some science fairs, you got Arabs, East Indians, Orientals, Africans. You got all the nations there represented, and maybe you might have a little bit of black people represented there. When they go into when you ever see them films and commercials about them working on them robotics, and they
Mm.
all in the laboratory and they got a robot, rarely do you see a black person in there. Now,
Mm.
we are in the industry. We are in the industry, but we are represented very minorly because we're not loved here. The Lord said, gather yourself together, O nation not desired. You're the one people that is not desired in this place, which is why you got to go serve the Lord. You know what? You're in a baseball game and it's 17 teams against one. And you're going to have to stick with the Lord so you can win the game. Otherwise, them 17 teams are going to overrun you and destroy you and never let you come up as the people of the Lord. And that's also why we have conflict with America. Why? Because America is constantly suppressing us. And yet, in our suppression, we still rise up way more than they ever expected. And that happened in ancient Egypt too. The Lord said, the more they afflict them, the greater we became. Right or wrong, Tabawan?
Kind of what kind, sir?
The greater we became. Why? Because we are the ones that's supposed to rise to the top. Because we'll be on the top and always respect the Most High. We'll be on the top, not challenging the Most High. We tried that once with Moses. When we got out in the wilderness, we told Moses, we don't want to talk to you. We want to talk to the Lord. He said, no problem. I'll be down there in 3 days. And he came down. We didn't want to talk to him no more. He said, it's a good thing, Moses, we talked to you. It's a very good thing. We don't want to talk to him no more. Now, that was our God that delivered us out of Egypt, that parted the Red Sea for us. And we said, we don't even want to talk to him. Us, thank you, but goodbye. No business. I don't want nothing to do with you. That's how we supposed to serve the Lord, not trying to be in power with Him. What
Mm,
kind of nonsense is that? We supposed to serve Him knowing He is the power, but the other nations, no, not so much.
mm.
Why are they gonna be destroyed? Go ahead, please.
Kind. Verse 7. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech.
Yeah, and the Lord did just that. Confounded the language, spread out the language into different languages, and changed the way we thought about things as one.
Mm,
Now you got Arabs thinking one way with their God, the white man thinking another way with his white Jesus, the Africans thinking another way with their gods and their nonsense. All this happened because the Lord separated us from being in one mind and one speech. And so all the heathens went out and created their own religions. And their own religions is what they stand on now that keeps them in conflict. That conflict was necessary. That separation from them was necessary. Worshiping other gods was not, but they heathens. So they're going to do what heathens do. But they needed to be separated from coming up against God. And every time they got separated, they attempted again to bring that empire back. Every major empire on the earth did it. Everyone did it. Babylonians, the Syrians, the Greeks, the Romans, America, all of them did that. All of them did that. You understand? So it had to be battled. Go ahead.
kind. Verse 8, Genesis 11 and 8. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city.
And when he scattered them, they left off to build that city. They left off to they left off from trying to build this empire to get to heaven to try to battle the Lord.
Mm,
Because of course they think the Lord is just either another alien or they think he's some unknown force in the universe, like in Star Wars, when the Most High is none of those things. The Lord is a living power with a throne and might and angels and beasts and all that. And he is not in the flesh of a man's body. Neither are the angels or any of that. They in a whole nother realm. That's what, again, back to that hydrogen, what do they call it? I keep messing up the
Was it
name.
CERN?
It's the Hadron Collider.
Hadron Collider.
They're dropping in the chat with dashes so we could read it. That collider, that collider, they got that collider because they trying to peer into another dimension to see if the Lord is in there. So they can gain whatever power God got in that dimension. They want to peer into it with him. They want to bring Satan into it. That's why when they have their festivals at those places, they have like a demonic festival because that's what they want. They're hoping they can unleash like a Pandora's box out of that dimension and use that weaponry to fight against the Lord to go even higher.
Mm.
That's what they're looking for. And the problem is they'll never get it. They'll never get it. They'll never own it. Right now they got theories. There's 17 dimensions. There's 25 dimensions. All that. And they in a race to get it. If we get a quantum computer, we could figure it all out. They racing to get it when the Lord is watching.
Mm,
And he'll come down and end all of it.
mm.
Bring all the empires to their knees because it was not for man to do it. I yield. Salakia. Go ahead.
That's heavy, sir. Salakia.
Go ahead.
Um,
Mm.
verse 9. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth.
That's why the definition of babble is confusion. When you babble, you don't speak in a way for somebody to understand you. You speak in a way that creates confusion. So they call it Babel, finishing up the empire as Babylon,
Mm,
the place of confusion. And it is. And that's why this is Babylon the Great, because this is them attempting a second time to create that same empire with a different set of heathens, the Edomites.
mm,
And these Edomites and this empire are going to meet with the same fate that all of the empires that come up against meet with, which is the Lord's wrath coming down on them. That's why he said in the last days he would meet them with fire this time. He flooded the empire the last time. This time he's gonna burn it to the ground, and it'll be built up once again. But this time it'll be built up under Yahushua, and we'll rule the kingdom, and we'll get all the records. We'll have all the records from all time on this planet. We'll
mm.
dig them out of everywhere in the earth. Let me tell you, most of the history you could not quantify or prove that it was the real history unless you read the Bible. The Bible is what confirmed a world of what they were lying about or hiding. But because of the Bible, it was able to come out that this was actually real, what happened. Like without the Bible, you would think the Egyptian empire was a wonderful and noble empire. But when you go into the Bible and get the perspective of the slave, you find out it was not that kind of an empire. Go ahead, Tabawan Salakia.
No, that's heavy. Come, sir. Back in Daniel 8 and 10,
All
and
right.
it waxed great even to the host of heaven.
Even to the host of heaven. They ready to come up against the Most High and against the angels. They trying to wax up to that host of heaven. That's how much evil they were bringing forth and are bringing forth today.
Mm,
That's why all those stories you hear about them getting them Nazi scientists and
mm,
building rockets and all that comes from that same spirit, that same demon to try and raise the kingdom. And here's what's so amazing about it. Our people don't have power in this kingdom like that. Yet they're going to end up with all the power and never be able to be stopped. Why? Because they are the ones that stayed loyal to the Most High throughout all the ages.
right. Con. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them.
Right. Those stars and those hosts are all the powers and authority and forces that have been set up in the earth. The stars meaning the famous, well-known ones,
Mm.
starting with their religions, crushing them and beating them and stomping them down to the ground. Why? So they could bring them all together. Go ahead.
Verse 11.
You got any more questions? I just want to make sure.
Uh,
Any more
n-
chat?
Let me check. None on. If Let me see. Quick. Slovakia. Uh, so far, no, sir.
Okay, let's keep going.
No questions. Daniel 8 and 11, sir. Slovakia. Yeah, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the
Right. He magnified himself against Christ. He made himself Christ. He used a white boy's face to make Christ. He waxed himself, you know, magnified himself against Christ's position, made himself like it was his position. And by him, the daily sacrifice was taken away, meaning he wiped out our worshiping of the Lord, the
Mm.
destruction of the temple. He destroyed that. That got wiped out because he ended the sacrifice because he brought in Christianity, Islam. He brought in all the religions of all the nations and made it like the world is just filled with religions when Jerusalem was where the only true God sat. Even the Muslims recognized it, and all the other heathens recognized it. And in many of their records, they have proof of the Lord. Any heathenistic nation that has record of us in the flood means they know who the Lord is, and they know why that flood took place. Go ahead, Salaki.
Kind of kind. Verse 12. And an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered.
And let me tell you something. This is a heavy, heavy scripture about what we are doing wrong. It says, and his host was given him against the daily sacrifice, meaning he was given the power
Mm.
and religion to come up against the truth of the Most High. That's your Roman Catholicism. That's who came up against it. So he had an army and a religion that destroyed the truth of the Lord. His army was the ones that fought up against our people, and then he had the philosophy to come behind it to poison our people and to poison the rest of the world. And now millions of people follow Catholicism. Okay, and it
Kind of
said,
kind.
and it cast down the truth to the ground, meaning it cast down the knowledge of the truth in this Bible because of that Roman Catholicism, because of their way of life, which was really the heathens' way of life. Because remember, this is the same as ancient Babylon that Daniel is talking about. And in ancient Babylon is where they built that tower. And so the same thing applies here. They stepped on this truth and crushed it to the ground. And it says, and practice and prosper. When it
Mm.
says practice, it means that they kept doing it. They kept wiping out what we believe in and teaching another doctrine. The Smithsonian Museum had something to do with that. The
Mm.
Smithsonian Museum is hiding tons of knowledge of us, tons of records in other nations of of us and the Bible. In many nations, they had this Bible. Many nations, just like it is today. Many nations had this Bible, but they, through their practice to prosper, they crushed these other religions and ideas and definitely crushed the truth so that they could be in power and be over everybody. Go ahead.
Kind of kind. Uh, Heavy. 13. And I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spake, how long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot?
Right. Like, in other words, they were trying to find out or trying to raise the question of how long would this be? They seeing the whole destruction of our people and our empire, and they saying to themselves, how long will this be? That all of what we built is going to be wiped out. How long is the daily sacrifice going to be cut off based on the transgression of desolation, which is such a heavy scripture in this? The transgression of desolation is the breaking of the law by the Israelites that leads to the destruction of our empire,
Mm.
which is exactly what we did. That's the transgression, the breaking of the sins of desolation. Meaning, when you transgress these laws, you can count that you're going to end up in desolation. And exactly what happened to us. We in America with no identity, fighting to be given our identity back because we transgressed, and for that transgression, we went into desolation. So the angels are asking, "Whoa, how long is this going to be that this transgression of desolation is going to carry itself out?" They know that in the end, the kingdom of heaven will be set up, but they just want to know how long is this period where the children of Israel will be living in desolation. They're asking this question while Daniel is hearing it. Go ahead.
Count on kind. Verse 14, and he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, and then shall the sanctuary be cleansed.
Right. Meaning it's going to take this for that transgression. The punishment will be desolation for this period of time, which is exactly what happened to us. We was already destroyed. Then Christ came. We was already under the Greeks and Romans by the time Christ came in the earth. Christ came in the earth to show us the path to getting back to the kingdom because most of the time was up. But then Christ had to go and leave so that we could finish out that time. And now we finishing out that time. Now we in the last empire. Now we in the last time before Christ's kingdom comes in. And that's why the Lord said, rejoice upon your bed with a
Right.
two-edged sword in your hand. There's a way to rejoice like a warrior or a warrioress, if you would like. There's a way to rejoice. And it's not by necessarily going out and killing somebody, but by knowing that the day that this time is coming to an end, and this is so important as a Hebrew Israelite, as they start to turn up the heat on the 12 tribes of Israel, as they start to, like the Lord said, uh, uh, they give us so much, I'm paraphrasing, so much hell because he knoweth he have but a little time.
Mm.
As they start to turn it up on us because they know they have but a little time, it's important for us to always remember that this kingdom will end, that all kingdoms will end, that all empires will end. We're going to read about it in Daniel saying it 2,500 years ago. If you don't know, now you know the value of the Bible. You know that sitting in the desert of Iraq, in the desert of Iran,
Mm.
next to small rivers, trying to survive, in the shadows of great palaces of Shushan, that the Lord handed these great things down to Daniel, and Daniel had them written down in the records. And these records, through the grace and mercy of the Lord, were preserved for thousands of years so that you would crack this book open. See, the Bible's now is on a computer. But, brother, if it had to be in its original form, you'd be cracking open a 2,500-year-old record. And you'd be saying to yourself, what is it talking about? And you'd be reading it knowing that it was some special book. They go and take a book from some other religion or some other guru that claims he knows the future, Confucius, Bob Casey or Ben Casey or whatever the hell his name was. And they just open their records like, look at these ancient records. Well, these are real ancient records that spoke about the future before it happened thousands of years ago. Thousands of years ago. That's why what you said was heavy, Faba One, when you were saying how this was done and given to Daniel such a long time ago, which was for us and to give us hope and to give us strength from such a long time ago. To read them now, to be able to read them, because they will eventually not want you to read them. But to be able to read them now is beyond a privilege.
Hmm.
Have the records of us to know, just like Daniel knew, he knew the Persian and Mede Empire would be overthrown by the Greek and Roman Empire. The Lord gave him the vision with the ram and the goat. So for him to have that information back then, man, what
Right.
an insight it gave him. And how much more should we at this time be locked in with the Lord on that level? It's right or wrong.
That's amazing. I like you.
You know what I mean? Let's keep going. Salakia. I know I'm dragging us.
No, that's I like it. That's heavy, sir.
Nope. I
Let me see here. Daniel 8 and 15. And it came to pass when even I, Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning, then behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man.
right. This man appeared right in front of his face. That's why he said as the appearance of a man, because he know a man can't just pop into existence from nowhere. So whoever this thing standing in front of me that looks like a man, he's really not a man because a man can't do what he did. This is what Daniel surmised and understood in his mind. Go ahead.
Come kind. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Ulai, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision.
That must have been something to Daniel.
God, sir. If
He heard another man say, Gabriel, show him what it is, man. Show him what it is. Go ahead.
kind. If I could, sir,
Please.
just thinking about the life of Daniel, if I'm not mistaken, he was under the Babylonians as well, and
Yes, he
and
was.
and witnessed and was a part of the transfer of power, if you will, for lack of a better term, from the Babylonians to Cyrus the Great and the Medo-Persian Empire. So
Yes,
him knowing about the siege of Jerusalem that just happened, being under the Persians and the Medes, what comfort it meant to him, like you said, it's pretty.
and remember now, he was well up in the palace.
Mm,
You know, the people that talked to the emperor also spoke to him
mm,
and turned on him.
right,
And the emperor liked him.
right,
Because the emperor found out he had to do something to him for disobeying the rules, the emperor was saddened that he had to move against Daniel.
right.
He was well up in power. But
Mm,
again, that's the mindset of a righteous man. No matter how powerful he is, that's why you Christian preachers in the church are such filth. Let me help you out. Let me help your disgusting, lascivious self out. You and that disgusting wife that you have. Let me help you all out. Daniel was up in extreme power, up in the empire. He was in the temple. That's why it says he was outside that temple. But
mm,
being a righteous man, Daniel preferred, like many righteous men, to get away from these heathens, man, and went down by the river to receive the word of the Most High. Why? Because that was better. They never gave up their identity. They never gave up their culture. They never, the 12 tribes of Israel could never assimilate to
mm,
the other. The other nations can assimilate, but the 12 tribes, you can't assimilate, and it's on a DNA level. Even if you did everything you did, remember, Abraham did that. He tried to mix among the other nations. But the Lord said, the Lord came down and said, what's going on? Why are you doing this? Did you eat of the tree you was not supposed to eat of? Like he tried to sow fig leaves on him, which is he tried when he began to be a sinner, He tried to become somebody else. He tried to join the other nations. He tried to put on their outfits, their way of life. And we do it today. Black men wear Muslim outfits, Middle Eastern outfits. Learn the language of them, learn the culture of them, learn the behavior of them. And the same in the Catholic Church, the same in the Christian church,
Right.
same in any other religion around the world. When we are not made to do that, that's, excuse me, that's not who we are. You cannot assimilate. And it drives the heathen crazy that you will not assimilate. They think your destruction is from not working rightly in America. When your destruction is because you will not conform and die like an animal that is required of you in an empire that hates your people and hates the Lord.
Right.
I Salaki.
Kind of heavy, sir. So like you, heavy.
Mhm.
Um, Daniel 8 and 17. So he
Okay.
came, kind. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid
Mm.
and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, Understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision.
Right. He knew Daniel he was an angel. So you know Daniel was scared. That was Gabriel, one of the archangels, one of the top dogs,
Hmm.
would show you how beloved he was to the Most High. The Most High loves a man that doesn't want a part of this world. Christ said, Love not the world, nor the things in the world, for it is enmity with the Lord, meaning it's a conflict with the Lord. It's against the way of the Lord's way. And that's how Daniel was. He didn't want to sacrifice with them. He didn't care about being next to the emperor and part of their kingdom. He
Hmm.
wasn't in it for the money. He wasn't trying to become a great man for the money. He tried to be right with the Lord and see the Lord's people come up out of the darkness and get their kingdom back instead of the kingdoms of these heathens. And the Lord, being merciful, gave him the vision, gave him the understanding, and then sent Gabriel to really clarify the understanding. And that's where we at right now. Go ahead.
Kind of what kind? Verse
That's what, block it real quick. That's what every brother is doing and should be doing in the Israelite school of UPK, giving you the understanding of what is to happen next for you. What is your path to the kingdom? What should you do and not do? Go ahead.
kind of what
Salah.
kind? No problem, sir. Um, verse 18. Now, as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground.
Okay, did we miss a line where he said, "For at the time of the
Oh,
end shall the
so
vision
like
be," or did you read it? Salah.
I missed it. I missed it. Slack.
Okay, okay, no sweat.
Daniel 8 and 17. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, Understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision.
Mm,
Now
that's
as
right.
he kind. Now as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground. But he touched me and set me upright.
Right. He came into Daniel's zone while Daniel was asleep. He like Daniel was in the vision, and he appeared to Daniel and then woke him up out of that to show him that I'm here and it's real. Boy, that must have been a hell of an experience.
Mm.
Man, you go down, lay down to go to sleep or pass out because you see a man appear right in front of you. You faint, and then you seeing this man in your mind while you unconscious, and then he come and tap you and stand you up and you out of the unconscious state into the conscious state, and he's still standing there. Whoa, that's a hell of a vision. That's a hell of a thing to go through.
Okay.
Go ahead, Op.
Uh, verse 19. And he said, Behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation. For at the time appointed, the end shall be.
There's a set time when this kingdom going to end, an old kingdom, and nobody can get around that time.
Mm,
Okay, this is the end of indignation, meaning the end of the Lord's anger and wrath at us for breaking those laws. There is an end that is to come for breaking those laws, and when that end comes, boy, Esau's time is up.
right.
Go ahead.
Count Con. Verse 20. The ram which thou sawest, having two horns, are the kings of Media and Persia. Verse 21. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king.
Alexander, go ahead.
Verse 22. Slack, let's dig right there. Okay. Verse 22. Now that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, four kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power.
Right. They were never as powerful, but they did rise to great power. But they were separated into four empires instead of one enormous, ever powerful empire. Go
Right.
ahead.
Count Khan. Verse 23. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a
Right.
king.
When the transgressors, sorry about that,
No
when
problem.
the wicked ones have come to their full, that's what they doing now. They coming to their full. They filling themselves up with me. They becoming more and more evil. They're respecting less and less of the other nations. They threatening more and more. I never saw them threaten nuclear weapons like they do now.
Mm.
It's almost a weekly occurrence that somebody is threatening to possibly use nuclear weapons. So they're coming fast to the end of this kingdom. Go ahead.
Count Khan. Daniel 8 and 23. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up.
Go ahead.
And by his power, I'm sorry, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people.
Right, because this one that's coming up in the end, he's coming up understanding dark sentences, meaning he's coming up with the pure Roman Catholicism. He's going to come up with the pure science. They're going to tie all that religion back to Babylon, back to all the other philosophies that they have. He's going to understand all this darkness, especially in the age of AI and all of this. Oh, he's going to understand all kinds of darkness in this empire, but it's not going to mean anything, only to them and only for killing us. They'll eventually say God was really the evil one, and these people, the 12 tribes, they're the evil ones. We need to destroy them. Here's why: because we're looking at the emerald tablets. We're looking at the Quran and the thing with the Quran. That's why you hear conspiracy theorists saying they're gonna have a false flag where they're gonna have a fake God come up and
Mm.
have a new religion. Elon Musk said it when they said, Elon Musk, what are you doing over there in Chicago? Why did you take over that area? I mean Memphis. And he said this will be the seat of the new God. This is where the new God will come from. People was like, what? Meaning they these computers together and try to decipher all these religions that come out of that Bible and try to turn it into something that they can now hand to the world and say, this is not something you shouldn't be believing this Bible stuff. It started here and this is where it went. And this is this and this is that. And none of it is real. Here's the real story, and they'll come up with some way to push some fake philosophy on you, which is what they did in the Tower of Babel, what they plan to do in the upcoming future. Salaki, I yield.
Khan. Verse practice and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people.
Right. He gonna destroy the mighty and the holy people. Which look at us. We're destroyed.
Right.
We're destroyed. And because of this empire. Go ahead.
Khan. Verse 25. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand.
Yeah,
And
the way he does business, because he's a thief and a robber and a swindler and a criminal, he's going to cause craft to prosper in his hand. He's going to come up with inventions and ways to kill. That's why they got all these, they got something called silent weapons for something war. What is it? Quiet weapons for silent war. He's going
mm,
to come up with all kinds of ways to do this madness with these nations. Go ahead.
Khan. And he shall magnify himself in his heart.
Yeah, he going he going to eventually, they if they don't stop Donald Trump, he going to call himself Christ in a minute.
Good
He going
night.
to have to he going to
Eh,
say I'm the incarnation, you better he going to do a Tazadakia on him.
oh
He going to
man.
say comforter. And if you say no, you not, he going to say how you know? You wasn't there when I said it. Well,
Mm,
you wasn't there when God told me. You wasn't there with the vision. Did you go up on the holy mountain?
damn.
Think about it. If they annex Israel, they annex Israel, man, they'll say a vision that God showed it to them. That this was what they were supposed to do as they deporting the Mexicans and the Palestinians in chains. They'll say this is what God called for, and they'll bring America and Israel together in one nation. That'll be the holy seat that rule. Oh, they got it planned.
Right.
They're planning it for 100 years. How
Right.
they gonna eventually bring the entire earth up under them and declare themselves the religious gods of the earth?
Khan,
And it
sir.
ain't none of it'll work. Go ahead,
If I may, sir.
please.
Um, with this, would it be fitting to say like this attitude of from 23 to 25? Can this attitude and mindset be placed on figures of history that had a hand in destroying us? Like
Absolutely,
okay, like an Antiochus Epiphanes, or
absolutely.
okay,
He knew the way to destroy us was to destroy what we believed in.
right,
What we believed in, like the children of Israel, is an amazing people. Everything that we done went through under the white man, we still worship the white man.
mm,
Like we're an amazing people like that. Where we will, the Catholics destroyed the Latino tribe.
right,
Them Catholic churches, brother, did hell, child molestation, raping, child trafficking. To this day, they turning out young boys at by the truckful with homosexuality, with rape, with all of this, and yet our people still love them,
right,
still worship them, still go in their temple to pray. Still believe that they're the righteous people. So we're people that stick. So yes, when Antiochus Epiphanes, for those that don't know, a Greek general wanted to, or emperor, I think he was the emperor, right? And I'm not sure what his position was, but he was commissioned. No, he was not the emperor, but he was commissioned to come down and destroy Jerusalem. And when he came down to do it, he knew what he had to do. He knew he had to come up against what we believed in. That's
mm,
what the whole story of the Maccabees is about.
right,
Those Greeks came down and bonded with the traitors of our people
mm-hmm,
who said they had not prospered since they left these Greeks. So let's go to the Greeks and get license to destroy this religion we into, talking about the truth, and let's go bring in the Greeks' religion so we can prosper again, which is exactly what the preacher in the church is doing,
right,
to prosper again and
mm,
to come in. So if you want to destroy the children of Israel, you have to destroy their religion. The white man understood that way back when we first got out of slavery. He said he understood that Margaret Sanger said, You have to go to the preachers if you want to influence the rest of the people.
Mm.
That's what she said. She said that back in the 19, I don't know when she was around, 20s, 30s, something like that, 40s. I'm not even sure when she was around. But she knew the way to destroy these people is to go to those that are in charge of them. And sure enough, who was in charge of us? Those preachers. Who is
Right.
it that we with? Those preachers. Why? Because once we have an identity of God, we tend to love to stick to that identity of God. It's you got to come against us with a force like you've never seen before. If
Mm.
you want to stop us from following a false religion, because we get stuck like we good and stupid. We went out in the wilderness and watched the Red Sea part before our eyes. Watch the angel in the sky bring fire at night and a cloud, knowing that it was an angel of the Lord. We watched the Lord come down on the mountain from heaven. We watched Moses split a rock. A nation of people. We said, let's go to Egypt. We said, let's go back, man. That's us. And so when we get the truth, is truth as a people. And that's a problem for a conqueror. That's a problem for somebody that wants to enslave you. You know what I mean? This truth is the anti-slavery medicine.
Mm.
This truth is. This truth here is the antidote to being a slave.
Mm.
This is the antidote to your mind, which means you need to learn this book so that your mind cannot be brought into slavery anymore willingly.
Right.
Yeah.
If I may, sir, just to go off of something you said so heavy as far as like these preachers, it reminds me going back to since we mentioned Antiochus or Antiochus, tomato,
Right.
Slakia, Epiphanes. During that time, there were a lot of traitors amongst us in our nation. Like for example, when you read as you know, like Second Maccabees, where it talks about Onias the high priest. He was a direct descendant of Aaron, thus making him a high priest. That was like our a figure of authority in that time.
That's
And
right.
so Antiochus, he a man by the name of, well, he changed his name to Jason because he wanted to be Hellenized, but his name was Joshua. He was Onias' younger brother. He wanted to Hellenize Jason, the brother wanted to Hellenize Israel or make it more modern to Greek standards. So
Yeah.
he went to Antiochus and said, I can get the people to be more Greek if you make me high priest. And so
Yeah.
he Antiochus established him as high priest. And what Jason, formerly known as Joshua, what he did was create a gymnasium right across the street from the temple. And
Yeah.
and you know the the gymnasium, how they trained in the fashion of the Greeks, that they did it naked. So it was something
That,
so profane right across from something so holy due to these preachers. That's the same thing today, sir, just like you said.
bravo. Bravo. You know what I mean? Like what you saying is absolutely right. That's exactly what they did, and that was the manner they went at it. And the preachers today are the exact same thing. And let me tell you something, Mark. It's such a lesson for those of you Hebrew Israelites out there in the ISUPK, and even those of you beyond. You should be sure that you are following the Lord and not turning from Him when the pressure or the wealth or whatever it is that they're willing to offer you comes along. Some of you may not be able to handle it. Some of you, Satan may come, and the idea of wealth and power and prosperity is going to suck the soul out of you.
Mm.
And you are going to bend to the will of your slave master. Unfortunately. But most of you, through the grace and mercy of the Lord, you will stand with the Most High and against that evil, which is what you better do, because the alternative is worse.
Right.
Salaki, go ahead.
Kind of, sir. Daniel 8 and let me see here, 26. Like you. And the vision of the evening and the morning.
You sure you got through 25?
Um. Oh, I sure didn't. Salakia. Salakia. Jumping
Go
ahead.
good.
Salakia. Daniel 8
Go
and
good.
25. And through his policy also shall he cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He
Right. He gonna magnify himself, make himself super great, and through peace, through trying to act like he is the people of righteousness, trying to act like he is the people of God, trying to act like he believes like God believes, to be merciful and kind and loving. He's going to act like that just so he can get close to you to destroy you. And that's what your church has done. That's what they've done all over the world. We're about peace when really they're about taking over somebody else's country,
Mm.
stealing the resources and using their people to help them, reach the top of the Tower of Babel. Go ahead, Op.
Khan. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes,
Go ahead.
but he shall be broken without hand.
Right. He gonna come up against Christ. They know he coming.
Right.
They already know. They done check the computers, the records, all that. They know he's coming.
Right.
They want to be prepared to try and stand up against him, try to come up against him some kind of way. But the Lord said he will be broken without hand.
Right.
He's not even going to be broken in a conventional war.
Right.
They're going to come up against the Lord and be vaporized. It's not even going to be a battle as they come up against him and come up against Yahushua. They are going to try and keep the kingdom with them
Mm.
so they continue to be evil, continue to take over, continue to fight against the Lord. But the Lord is Yahushua come out of that thicket, brother. He's going to destroy them without hand so that this can be brought back to belonging to the Most High like it's supposed to. And we
Right.
could learn the lesson, the very precious lesson of never turning against the Lord, of never giving up our seat with the Most High, of never, ever, ever trying to become a sinner and follow a dumb-ass religion from the heathens ever again.
Mm.
Go ahead, Papa One.
Khan, sir. Verse 26. Oh, it's like it. But shall be broken without hand. And the vision of the evening and the morning which was told is true.
Go ahead.
Wherefore shut thou up the vision, for it shall be for many days.
Right. He told Daniel, listen, what you saw in that day and that night was true. Put that record away.
Mm.
Don't bother with that record now, because it's gonna be for many, many days.
Mm.
Brother, I could imagine being Daniel in that time and having them records written down and wrapped up, buried under the earth,
Mm.
and all kinds of things because of how powerful it was and knowing this would come during the end. That's why, like I said, as this war goes on, they're going to break into these countries. They stole a whole bunch of artifacts from Iraq. They wouldn't even let you know what it was that they took. They took tons of artifacts out of Iraq, put them in boxes, and sent them to the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian got a storage of items probably about big as almost half a city of things, and they store it all over the world,
Mm.
categorize it all over the world, most of which you could never even see. It's almost like they locking up the history from you.
Mm.
When this war escalates and they go into Saudi Arabia and into Yemen and into Lebanon more and into Jordan and into those different areas in Iran and Iraq, all the truth is going to start to spill out in archaeology. Right now, we just teaching it in the records. We just saying these things happen and will happen, but they're going to bring the proof out. And they themselves will say, we had it all wrong. Here's more artifacts of the Hebrew Israelites. Yeah, they were black. They look like Hispanics.
Mm.
They look like Native Indians today. Look at their garments. They're going to bring all those records out. They're going to say, yes, this happened because it matches the records of this kingdom. Right now, they're spending all their time finding records that go against the Bible.
Mm.
In that time, they will find so much records that they'll begin to realize we need to find these records because they match the Bible.
Right.
And then everything will start to come out. Go ahead.
If I could, the scriptures say, like you said, General, the earth shall help the woman.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. The earth shall help the woman being us, being a woman in travail, the woman being us waiting to bring forth a baby, which that baby is Yahushua. And how the earth is helping the woman is because the earth is bringing the records of the truth and making people see the records and wake up to the truth. That's helping the woman. That's helping bringing us to the point where Christ returns. Because we wake up, we get the knowledge. It's being spread among the earth. And in that day, the earth will fully help us by opening those records to who we are.
Mm.
Good.
Verse 27. And I, Daniel, fainted and was sick certain days.
That was a hell of experience for Daniel. Fainted and was sick several days
Mm.
over this vision. Go ahead.
Afterward, I rose up and did the king's business.
He went back to work. He had a high ranking job under the king, under these heathens. And so he said, after all that, I got up and I went back to work like I was supposed to.
Right.
Go ahead.
And I was astonished at the vision, but none understood it.
Right. He was astonished. Remember, the Lord sent the angel for him to understand it. So when it says, but none understood it, meaning nobody could receive it like he does. You ever break down some scriptures to somebody in the world that's real heavy and they, can't get it because they mind on something else? Yeah, that's nice, brother, but we heading to the club, man. Let's go.
Mm.
Man, you trying to show them, yo, man, this is heavy out. I figure out, oh, man, that's nice, man, but let's go get that blunt. If you want to understand deep wisdom and deep knowledge, you got to fight those things that your flesh are used to. You got to give yourself a chance to walk in righteousness so the Lord could come and get you and show you things. Daniel wasn't out there getting high,
Right.
chasing girls. He was by the river mourning the children of Israel. He was by the river, musing on his position. Here I'm in Babylon, high up with the king. I mean, Elam high among with the king. But yet I'm an Israelite and my culture has been trampled to the ground. Like that's the mind you got to be in. And because he was in that mind, the Lord came and helped him. The same happened to Gideon. Gideon's father was prominent in Israel at the time. His father had a whole garden with the worship of the Midianites gods, and was known for it,
Hmm.
but was still bitter that Israel had been trodden down. His father and everybody else was trying to enjoy themselves under the Midianites, even though they were starving, and never putting it in the back of their mind, what about us? What about our identity and our nation? And what will happen to our future? Most of our people would rather just give up your identity. If it means you'll be loved by the white man and loved by the slave master, you give up your identity. You'll say to hell with being an Israelite or having my knowledge, or to hell with the Lashawan Kodash, the true language of us. To hell with them customs of fringes and studs. I want to go be part of them. That's most of us, and that's how we were. And Gideon hated it. And when the angel came to him, like he came to Daniel, Gideon turned around and said, man, what happened to the promise that God said he was going to give us and make us great? The angel said, go in that strength. In fact,
Mm.
that was a lesson for us. We're supposed to stick to that. We're supposed to stick to the Lord said we are to have a kingdom. We're to have an empire, that he destroyed these empires, like we reading about in Daniel. And then we're supposed to say, let's go work for that kingdom. Let's go build in that kingdom. Let's be focused on that kingdom. And then Christ came and sealed the covenant. Christ came and brought the deal back to the Most High. And now we got a shot at the kingdom. Let's go on and get it back. Let's
Mm.
get it back and fulfill the prophecy that was given to us that we would have that kingdom.
Mm.
Do his will under those laws, statutes, and commandments. I yield to what I
Come, sir. That was the entire 8th chapter, sir. Did you want to still
the
do
whole 9 till next week.
um let me see how many verses. It's up to you, sir. It's up to you.
I
It is
mean, it is 8:30.
Count.
We
It's
did
pretty.
hours. Probably got to
Yeah.
give brothers and sisters a break. But we come back. We can come back and do the 9th chapter next week.
I'll be honored to have you, sir. It's like you.
Most High in Christ. It'd be an honor to be here. Same time, same channel.
Count, sir.
Let's do it.
Count, sir. If I could say one last thing,
Please.
what stood out to me, dealing with how in Daniel earlier on, I actually want to read this from the book of Maccabees,
Yahanna.
if I may. How
Uh-huh.
you brought out how the rough he goat, how they always using the damn goat, slack you, because how the Esau he's fascinated with the goat head
Yes.
or whatnot. But going back to Alexander, how Alexander was the first over Greece, even though he was a Macedonian, and how he introduced the world to um, Hellenization and attempted to spread Greek culture, and partially was successful on us, which is the Book of Acts, and Israelites who had to relearn the truth and that whole ordeal. But my point is, through all the Maccabean revolts, as they label it in history, the whole ordeal with Antiochus Epiphanes and the Greeks and the brothers like Judas Maccabees, Mattathias, or what have you. Um, then 100 years from that, you had Rome. Through all of that, from the Babylonians to the Persians and the Medes to Antiochus, we were always under someone. Israel was never solitary or sovereign. We was under Persia. We was under the Babylonians. We were under the Assyrians. We were under the Greeks. We were under the Seleucids. We was only under the Ptolemies at one point. But through all that chaos, um,
Really, the only time we were not under anybody for real, was under David. David was the first time, was the only time that we actually had some sovereignty.
man,
Was David.
man, Khan
He
Khan,
broke the kingdom from the Philistines and kept every other heathen out
right.
and did it and held it. It held for 2 generations and that was it.
Mm,
Went right back under. And it still was only half the kingdom because the other half was already destroyed.
mm.
So he was
That,
still holding together by pins and needles.
right.
But it did reach a sense of independence under David.
Mm,
But outside of that, Nah, not really.
Kind of
Not
kind.
in a real sense. You
Right.
know what I mean? Hezekiah, they had it for a while, but not really.
Mm. If I could, to your point, which you made is heavy, uh, which brought me to the mind of how important Christ is, because Christ was born in the middle of us being under Herod and Rome, and Herod, as we know, he was an Idumean, he was an Edomite,
Mhm.
but and that's exactly why he wanted to kill Christ or find out who Christ was, or who we believe to be the Christ, which Yahushua is. Then when he wanted to kill him, and then when those wise men didn't go back to Herod, Herod said, just go kill all the males, I believe 2 and under or whatnot. But just shows
Yeah,
you to what extent.
two and under. He killed every male in Jerusalem, two and under.
Right,
He genocided. He tried to genocide us to try to eliminate Christ,
right,
which was evil as hell,
right,
which is
right.
what they do. Once again, he was he was concerned with his power. He was concerned with what he was doing. That's why they killed every black leader in these modern times,
Right.
because they want to make sure that no black leader raises up the people against him. That's why when they accused Christ, they said, we have no king but Caesar.
Mm,
Because the fact that they was accusing Christ of calling himself the king was like the worst thing in the world.
right.
You couldn't go into Jerusalem and say, I'm the new king. Nobody even dared to even say, I'm a king.
Mm,
Why? Because you did not ever want to be put in that position, because you was going to get challenged by the Romans. What you mean, you the king? Jerusalem ruled by Rome. And the people was even in that mindset. The people was in that mindset, just like you see Jakes out there today, like that Jake that got his ass whooped at the MAGA concert, the MAGA
oh
rally.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? You got Jakes today, Israel today, that say, we have but one God,
Mm,
Trump.
crazy.
You know what I mean? They had one cat that said, I love Trump. I love everything about Trump. Jake, he was like, I love everything about Trump. I love everything he's doing. You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful, blah, 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 all of that. Why? Because some of us want to be that traitor.
Mm,
Us, some of us under oppression want to be loved by the oppressor. They don't want to be persecuted by the oppressor. They want to be loved by the oppressor. So
mm,
since they want to be loved by the oppressor, they will themselves mimic everything that the oppressor likes.
mm.
Give up their soul, give up their spirit, give it all up to make the oppressor happy. But the problem is, those that are on the oppressor side will lose in the end,
That's right.
will not win in the end. And that's what Christ was trying to let them know. And that's why what Christ did was so bold.
Mm,
And it was so messed up that he had to do it, because Christ knew he was going to walk down this road and tell them, I'm the descendant of David, and I'm supposed to be king. Let's get together and rebuild our nation. And he knew that was exactly what we didn't want to hear. And
mm.
neither ones that was over us. Caiaphas said that was the last thing they wanted to hear.
Right.
This guy come along and say he's in charge and we should do A, B, and C, when we up here in power getting money from the Romans, and
Mm,
they done give us a powerful seat in this kingdom. You'll find out, that the same things are used by Satan over and over again to destroy men.
damn.
Number one, power. Power destroys men all day, every day. The seeking of power. What's greater than the seeking of power is being given a seat by Christ.
Mm,
That's why he said, lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where rust and moth doth not corrupt. You can't corrupt the seats you're gonna get in the kingdom. Who gonna corrupt it?
right.
Who gonna up your crown that Christ got waiting for you? Remember, the angel told Daniel, thou art greatly beloved. Daniel's on the earth, in the desert, by the river, in captivity, in captivity. And yet he said, Thou art greatly beloved, which means you being in hell in America, you greatly loved. And there's a crown for you, and nobody can rust it. But if you seek a carnal power, you seek your own power, if you seek wealth in this kingdom, like a preacher does, if you seek those things, then yeah, rust and moth will corrupt. It will get to you. It'll overthrow you. It'll be what Satan said to Christ when he raised him up on the pinnacle of the temple and said, All this is mine. I give it all to you if you bow down to me. You
Mm.
want the translation? Here's the translation. Look at these stupid ass people. Man, if I really get down and get vicious, I could take over all this. That's how it is in your stupid mind. In your mind, it's I could do all, I could take this. But you can't take that. You're going to take that and become a servant of Satan.
Mm.
And when you finish serving him in the capacity he wants you to, he's going to discard you. But Christ's crown, when you raised up there, can't nobody take that from you because the kingdom will be in total order. Death can't even take that from you because Christ went on the cross and conquered death.
Mm.
So if you living under the authority of Yahushua, even death can't take that crown from you.
That's heavy.
You know what I'm saying? What else is better? And so that's why he said what he said. You understand? So that's a heavy scripture that you brought out. You know
Count,
what I mean?
count,
Because
count, count.
even you can't take that seat. And that's why your goal has to be that kingdom of Yahushua. Daniel had the mindset. You understand? So did David. David didn't care about these other heathens, man.
Mm.
Went and he didn't go marrying other wives and heathens and all that. He went for the kingdom and went and built it. And that was the time when we was finally free. Finally, we was free,
Mm.
able to be strong. But of course, we screwed it up. Christ made the deal back. Man, we better get it.
Right. Count, count, sir. That's heavy. If I could, that's heavy.
Damn right.
Yeah. But kind, sir, that's all I had, sir. Unless you had any closing words, or I know you say you want to continue next week. If
I
you
would,
know,
if you up for it, I'd love to come back and do another chapter. I rarely get to sit down and go into the scriptures like this, but the few chances I do get to it, I love it. You know what I mean?
oh,
So
Most High in Christ, sir. Shoot, absolutely, shoot. Like you said, if the Lord allowed, next week, same time. Um, Outstanding breakdown of Daniel 8, sir. Again, I want to publicly thank the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, throughout the youth, sir, all the generals. Big ups to Captain Gadalhar, holding it down. And that was it. Until next week, everyone.
damn right. Big shout out to Ibad. Y'all hanging with us
Damn
today.
right.
Doing it right. You know what I mean? See y'all next time, fam. The water again.
Kado Khan, sir.
All right. Shalom.